UFC Fight Night, Rozenstruik versus Gaziev. We're going to break down this entire card. I'm going to tell you my best fight predictions. And I really like this fight because there's really bettable, stuff here. Before we do that, let's first break down and go over UFC Fight Night, Moreno versus Royval. First fight, we had Naimov and Silva. I picked Naimov to win. It was obvious. It was unfortunate for Silva to injure his ankle like in the first round and losing. Like, obviously he could have put a better fight, but shit happens and Naimov won. Like, the thing is, like, Naimov had the much better competition. He won against Nathaniel Wood, for fuck's sake. So there was no, it was a lock for sure. Next fight, very controversial decision. And I got fucked by it because I picked Victor Altamirano mid-fight. I've made a live bet and he won. He 100% won. He controlled the fight and he did damage as well. And he got robbed essentially by the referee. Sorry, by the judges. They give the split decision to Dos Santos, who just, we already saw that he can't really take the wrestling when it comes towards him. So that's a shame for Victor and for me, but that's betting. Next fight, we got Ronaldo Rodriguez and Dennis Bondar. I was never high on Bondar in the UFC. And this new guy, Ronaldo Rodriguez, first of all, he's tough. Because Bondar got him with some punches. It seemed like he was a bit wobbled, but he just came back and he dominated him in the second round and got the submission in a few seconds later. I like the mentality of this Mexican fighters. Like, they're young, they're hungry. The new generation is coming, and it's very exciting because it's like a new breed of fighters. And Ronaldo Rodriguez, I definitely see a bright future for him. Next fight, we got Ziam Fares and Claudio Puelles. Claudio Puelles, he took Ziam down. Like, he dominated with his wrestling at the beginning at least, but he couldn't do anything with that. Like, everyone were high on him because he has good jiu-jitsu, but the reality is he failed at that part because he couldn't submit Ziam, and he had many opportunities to do so. On the other side, Ziam looked Ziam looked like Ziam. He has good striking, he has pressure, he has good cardio, and he was dominating the fight whenever Puelles couldn't submit him. And good for him, he won, and that's cool. Next fight, Daniel Lacerda and Edgar Chairez. We all already knew what's going to happen here. I had Chairez in their first fight, and I had him this fight, and he won. Daniel Lacerda is not UFC material, with all due respect. I like Chairez. I think he has a bright future in the UFC. He's very tough, has good submission game, and also has really good striking. Next fight, also a controversial decision. Jesus Aguilar and Mendonca. I thought Mendonca won. He was clearly dominating, especially in the third round. Jesus, and again, judges gave Jesus the win. It's unfortunate because these fighters are really dependent on the rewards they get, the money they get from winning, and in addition to that, their fame, their everything is super related to the decision. Unfortunately, the referees decided not to give him the win, and that's that. Next fight. This was a very, very close fight until it wasn't. Barcelo's man, like, he's a dog. We saw that. Although he, is I think it was his shoulder. Yeah, he popped his shoulder, and then they popped it right back. And he was fighting mostly with his right arm, and he was touching Quinones. But then, third round, he just took that dog out and submitted him. We could finally see a bit of his jiu-jitsu game, and that's it. It seemed like in the second round, the third round, Quinones started to get a bit overwhelmed by Barcelo's, and that's why he won. Barcelo's. Torres and Duncan, man, I love Torres. I'm telling you, this kid is a future contender. You heard this here and now. Torres is a future contender in my opinion. What he did to Duncan was just a masterclass. He got that submission so fast, and Duncan he's a tough fighter. Duncan, he's not a pushover, but Torres is just different, man. He's really crazy. And he's good everywhere, not only with his striking, which is phenomenal, but his submission game. So good for him. I really hope they're going to give him a ranked fighter next fight. And we're going to see him hopefully as a future contender. Next fight, we got Yasmin Jaragui and Sam Hughes. Yasmin, she was the faster fighter. She was much faster than Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes was just surviving there. And Jasmine, she's the better fighter. She was faster. I thought she could finish her, but Sam Hughes is tough. So good for her. Daniel Zellhuber and Prado. Man, Prado is fucking tough. A lot of Argentinian fighters are so fucking tough. They're very durable. And Prado was winning the first round. Prado had him in the first round, but then second and third round, Zellhuber just came with that fucking jab. He has the reach advantage. He has the length, and Prado just didn't know what to do. He couldn't find him. He couldn't get into the pocket and punish him. And although he got really, really, like, he got caught bad in the second round, he couldn't see from his right eye. But he kept pushing, The third round was all hard by him. Next fight, we had Brian Ortega and Yair Rodriguez. And I can say that the hype train on Rodriguez is over. Like, this guy likes to talk, and he just talks. He thinks he can beat the guy who beat the master. He think he can beat Ilya, and he couldn't even go against Ortega. He got submitted by Ortega. No wrestling defense, nothing. I wouldn't say disappointed, but good for Ortega. He looked good. And I think if there's someone that can give problems to Ilya, that could be Ortega, for sure. But probably Ilya would go against Volk again. Last fight, and this was actually my best pick, my best bet the entire night. I put 3 units on the over 3.5 rounds for Royval and Moreno, and I got it. And you know what? Moreno looked lethargic. Moreno looked slow. He wasn't there. And Royval, man, that the volume is just there. This guy, he wouldn't stop moving. He wouldn't stop throwing at you, even when he's down, even when he's up. He's constantly moving. He has gas tank for days. And he won. Good for him. I got what I wanted, which is the over 3.5 rounds. And Royval might have a chance again against Pantoja. And I think he can win against Pantoja. He just needs to improve a bit more. Yeah, but that's it. Now let's go and talk about the upcoming card. UFC Fight Night. I think it's 87. We got Rozenstruik versus Gaziev. First fight, we got Loik Razabov and El Sawadi. Like, listen. Okay, El Sawadi won against a very hard opponent, a very good opponent on Contender. He looked like Volkanovski in his striking style. Now, the thing is, he's not Volkanovski, and Loik Razabov has really, really good wrestling, which we saw that in his fight against Estevan Ribovic. I just think that the wrestling pressure by the Tajik tank will be too much for Abdul, and I'm not really high on Abdul. He did look good, but this is a different level. Like, Loik has wins in the UFC. He has one win, one loss, and he has wins in the PFL. He has losses in the PFL. I'm not saying it's gonna be an easy fight for him. I just think that the experience and the wrestling pressure will give him the win. But it's gonna be a tough fight. I like the over, to be honest, on this one. I think this is definitely going on the over. But if I'm gonna pick a winner, it's gonna be the Tajik tank. Next fight, we got Vinicius Oliveira and Bernardo Sopas. I was impressed by Vinicius on Contender. He's a very dangerous striker. Like, he can put you out if he wants to, and if he finds that chin, he's gonna put you out. Now, Bernardo, the Nordic Swedish fighter, he's very young, he's promising, but the competition he faced, I'm not really high on that, like, experience wise as well. But this is gonna be a good fight. He can definitely win. Like, he can find Oliveira's chin as well. This is gonna be a competitive fight. We know Oliveira lost only by knockout, and Bernardo can definitely knock him out. So this is a stay away for me. But I'm just gonna go with the more experienced fighter, which is Luke Dog. This is gonna be an exciting fight for sure. Next fight, we have Christian Leroy Duncan and Claudio Ribero. Give me Duncan here all day. We know how dangerous Duncan is with his striking, and we know Claudio wrestling is not that good. Like, Kopylov managed to knock him out, and Leroy Duncan, I wouldn't say he's a good striker as Kopylov, but he's a very fast, very dangerous striker. And I just don't see Claudio Ribero surviving his onslaught when he decides to release it. Give me Duncan by KO or the under for this fight. Next, we got Javid Basharat and Ayman Zahabi. Give me Basharat, man. I'm not fading the Basharat brothers until they get to really, to top 10 contenders. Man, Basharat, he's so good. And like, he's a very high IQ fighter, and that's what I'm looking. When I'm doing bets on fighters, I'm looking for that IQ. And I'm not saying Zahabi is not a smart fighter. He is. But the age is already 36. He lost in the past to guys like Vince Morales. And Ricardo Ramos. I just don't see a way for him to beat Basharat. I do see the over. Probably get a better odds on the over than just going money line on Basharat. But yeah, that's my pick. Basharat to win. Klein and Cunningham. So this was seems that Alvarez had visa issues, and now we are getting AJ Cunningham. I like Klein to win here. Like, not only Cunningham is coming on short notice, he's doing his UFC debut short notice. And Klein, man, he just looked phenomenal against Bahamundes. Bahamundes had no answer to Klein's wrestling, to his pressure. And he's on a very, he's on a win streak. And like he like Cunningham is coming from a regional scene card, like place, UFC, whatever. It's not the UFC level. And Klein is just good, man. He's good. He had a full camp, and he's gonna win probably by knockout. Next fight we got, who is that? We got Eric Anders and Jamie Pickett. Jamie Pickett, in my opinion, is one of the worst 185ers in the roster. With all due respect, I'm seeing Anders here winning in any way, whether it's gonna be the striking, the wrestling. He got it all. So I'm picking Anders here. I think it's his fight all day. Very, very, I'm not gonna get into it too much. I just think he's gonna win. Next fight we got Matt Schnell and Steve Erceg, bro. Steve Erceg, Astro Boy. Man, I kept betting on him from his debut against David Dvorak, and I'm gonna keep betting on him because I see this guy as a future. Like, I see him getting to the top 10, top 5 for sure. Very, very smart fighter. Like, his wrestling is on point. His striking is on point. And I think he's better compared to Schnell everywhere. Erceg is a rising star from Australia. And Schnell, he can get knocked out. He can get submitted. He has 5 losses in the UFC. Okay, he lost to Pantoja. He lost to Font. He lost to Elliott. He lost to Royval, which are obviously very good fighters. But Erceg is on another level. In my opinion, Erceg is going to win. And yeah, I'm betting Erceg here. I like him to win. Who we got next? Umar Nurmagomedov, man. Umar is back after a long time, after he had that shoulder injury. He's going to fight against a very tough fighter from Kazakhstan. And don't fade those Kazakhstani fighters. They're good. People here are picking Nurmagomedov. I'm not saying he's not going to win. He most likely is going to win. But I think it's going to be competitive. This guy was never finished. He was never finished. And not only that he was never finished, he has, he had good competition. Of course, Umar is going to win. But I wouldn't put my money on a minus 1,200 favorite. You know what I do like? I'd like the over here. Let's see how much we're getting for the over for Umar and Mr. Al-Makan. You get 192 for the over? I think that's possible. I think that's possible. He is making his debut. So let's see. Let's see what's gonna happen. Next fight, we got Alex Perez and Muhammad Mukai. I'll be honest, I'm not really high on Mukai. In his last fight against Tim Elliott was dominating in the first and the second round. He got, somehow they took his position, which they shouldn't have, and Mukai managed to find that arm triangle. Now, Alex Perez, man, he's good, but IQ-wise, I don't know, man. He got submitted too many times. And when you see a threat like Mukai has in terms of submissions, I just think it's gonna be too much for Perez. So I'm picking Mukai. He's he's an undefeated fighter. He has that different mentality. He takes these things like super seriously. So that's my pick. I'm picking Mukai, probably by submission. Next fight, we got Petrino against Pedro. Petrino all day, man. This guy is different. His build, he was built in the Amazons in Brazil. He has power. And he keeps improving, man. Each fight he's coming in, you see an improvement. I'm not really high on Tyson Pedro. He lost to Bukauskas, which Petrino managed to knock out. I don't see him knocking out Petrino. I see Petrino knocking him out. So give me Petrino all day. Next fight, and the main card, we got Rozenstruik and Gaziev. This is gonna be, a hard fight for Gaziev, in my opinion. I'm saying Gaziev is gonna win just because he has that good wrestling, Dagestani pressure. He's training with some of the best from Dagestan. With that being said, Rozenstruik is dangerous. Like if Rozenstruik worked on his wrestling defense, Gaziev is going to be in trouble. Thing is, Gaziev has the reach advantage, and that's gonna play for him. But be careful here. Be careful. I'm picking Shamil, but this fight can go each way. I'd say the safer bet here would be probably the under, but Shamil is the pick if I have to. That's it, guys. Very quick, efficient breakdown. If you have any more comments, any recommendations for the next video, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one.